record 7th time Air Force is headed to the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. The Falcons will square off with James Madison in the 30th all-time bowl game in program history. It'll mark the first ever meeting between the Falcons and the Dukes. Hi, everybody. I'm Jesse Kurtz here in the Mountain West Network studio. This Bowl Blitz brought to you by Gatorade. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. For some insight on the Falcons and this bowl matchup with JMU, we bring in the voice of the Air Force Falcons, Jim Arthur. Jimmy, I appreciate your time today. How are you?
Happy holidays, Jesse. Always an exciting time of year when your team gets to go bowling. A lot of folks excited for Air Force to try to finish this season on a high note.
Yeah, no question. And speaking of excitement, let's talk about the exciting news that happened for this program. In December, Air Force safety Trey Taylor won the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, given each year to the top defensive back in the country. And you've had a chance to watch him grow as a player for the last 4 years. What makes him so special on the field?
I think he has all the attributes you need to be an All-American. He certainly has the size. He's got the speed and the strength. He's got the smarts too, Jesse. Sometimes I don't think we appreciate that enough out of some of these players. I talked to Trey just before a bye earlier this year, and I said, what are you going to do with some of the time off you have? He said, well, I'm going to get a little bit of rest, but he said, I'm going to work on my craft. And that really impressed me and really stood out. A couple of years ago, when he was a sophomore, he missed the first 3 games, and he joined an Air Force defense that was good at the time. But when he got into the lineup, they went from good until great, and they have maintained that measure ever since he's gotten into the lineup. You can't get him out of the lineup. He will be sorely missed, and I know Air Force is glad that he's playing one more game against James Madison.
Yeah, he elevates the play of everybody, kind of like a guy named Chad Hennings, who Taylor joins Hennings now as the only Air Force players to win a major National College Football Award. Of course, Hennings won the 1987 Outland Trophy. The Air Force defense this year ranking 6th in the nation in total defense. And in addition to Trey Taylor, I look at guys like P.J. Ramsey and Bo Richter, the team's 2 edge rushers who were named first team All-Mountain West. Ramsey and Richter combined for 14.5 sacks and 26.5 tackles for loss. How do these two complement each other, and how pivotal of a role have they played in making this Air Force defense nationally elite once again?
I think they've been huge for a couple of reasons. Number one, you can't double team one of them because the other one is going to run free. Number two, you move Bo Richter all over the place, so you're not sure where he's going to line up. And number three, those two guys keep your offensive line occupied so they can't get to the second level where Alec Mock and Jonathan Youngblood are waiting. So it's really kind of a team effort. P.J. Ramsey is just huge. He got so much bigger this year. And I remember 2 years ago at practice, and Troy Calhoun came up and he pointed to this guy who at the time was wearing number 31. And it was Bo Richter, who's now wearing number 8. He said, this guy's going to be a good one. And Coach was exactly right. Richter has been sensational. I think, too, they're getting good help from the interior of that defensive line with Peyton Zadroit because he's huge. He's tough to handle. So anywhere you look, in the middle with Zadroit, on the edges with Ramsey and Richter, you've got problems if you're an offensive line and you're an offense trying to establish your rushing game.
The JMU offense has been very good here this year. They've outscored their opponents by 200 total points here in 2023. All right, for the Air Force offense, once again, ranking number 1 in the Mountain West in rushing offense, 2nd in the nation, averaging just under 276 yards per game on the ground, led by Emmanuel Michel, 747 yards and a team-high 9 touchdowns. Now, they'll be facing a JMU defense that gives up just 61.5 rushing yards per game. They lead the country in yards per rush, allowing 2.1. What do the Falcons need to do offensively to get this run game going?
Well, I think Diesel has got to live up to its name. The offensive line has to play like they played in the first half of the season. I didn't think they played, Jesse, that well last 4 games of the season. Now, yeah, there have been injuries to other key members of the offense, but James Madison leads the nation in tackles lost with 109. I mean, that is a huge number. And they've got 3 of the top 6 defenders in the country in terms of individual numbers for tackles for loss. You got to keep those guys out of the Air Force backfield. You got to be able to open up some holes a little bit. I think, too, if you're Air Force, look, Air Force is a fullback rush attack, but I think you're going to have to get the ball outside some. You're going to have to get John Lee Eldridge involved because you want James Madison to guess a little bit. And if they're not guessing and if they know what's coming, I think it could be a long day for Air Force. So, yeah, feature the fullback, but make sure you get the ball outside, out to the edges, and get them guessing just a little bit as to what's coming next.
I like the plan of attack. And if history is any indication, we expect a lot of points in this game since 2014. Fun fact here, the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl is the second highest scoring bowl game in college football with a total of 602 points. Only the Rose Bowl has scored more. Jimmy, I always appreciate the insight. Thank you so much for joining us here on this Bowl Blitz.
Jesse, happy holidays.
You as well, my friend. That's Jim Arthur, the voice of the Air Force Falcons. This Bowl Blitz brought to you by Gatorade. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. By the way, you can watch Air Force take aim at its 5th straight bowl victory when it meets JMU in the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl on Saturday, December 23rd. Kickoff from Amon G. Carter Stadium is set for 2:30 p.m. Central Time and will be televised by ABC. From the Mountain West Network studio, I'm Jesse Kurtz.